Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi.
Okay, we're going to do this. We're going to change the rules of the game a little bit for this one. And I'm going to start off with a very candid confession, which will really tease you on the content of the call. So basically, I'm going to ask, as always, I'm going to have you write your questions in the chat rather than asking them because there's so many people on these calls. It works better if I kind of funnel the questions through to Sarah. But hold on, perhaps, until towards the end before typing out so many questions because this is info heavy. It's a new thing and some of your questions might be answered. So I'm going to play the trying to understand business for dummies role and ask Sarah any questions that pop to mind. And then maybe half hour into the call, start typing out your questions and I'll bring them to Sarah's attention. Now, I'm going to be very candid with you. You all know Sarah Sampino from Audiobooks Unleashed. Sarah came to me and we were going to do this call. We'd had it planned for a while and it was going to be the grand opening, of this new way to distribute your audiobooks. And I got a little bit panicked the last few days, Sarah will attest to. And I started sending her messages going, what exactly are we talking about? Because we all know when you say royalty share and somebody says a new way to do royalty share, the first thing you think is, right, you have to check the numbers on Amazon and then hope that the author's like a multi-best-selling author and then you might make a penny. And I didn't want that call to be that. I didn't want it to be you guys logging on thinking, really, there's no way to make money. You listen to some hollow content and then at the end we go, but here's this new business you can all buy into. So I called Sarah. Finally, I think Sarah took pity on me and called me yesterday and answered some of my questions. And I actually, possibly rudely, I apologize, cut her off after about 5 minutes because I had a million questions. It's clear that there's some really unique, interesting things going on that could benefit us all. And there was one option that I almost squealed when I heard because I hadn't heard it before and I think it's brilliant. And also the reason I'd said, let's go ahead with this in the first place with Sarah, because everyone's advertising something. Everyone on these guest calls, they're coaching or something. Everyone, we're all in business. Of course, we're raising our profile in advertising. But I knew Sarah when she first mentioned Audiobooks Unleashed, and 5 seconds later, was getting thousands of hits and people were tearing, and my writers were coming back to me saying, I've gotten rid of all my books on Audiobooks Unleashed. So I know for a fact that she's business savvy and the trick is going to be interpreting that and getting all the info we can from her. So by the end of the call, you guys really have your heads wrapped around this and that we can have one more avenue where we can take power of our business, take control. And start to do things ourselves rather than always feeling at the mercy of straight ACX and hope someone likes me. So with that said, I hope I wasn't too candid. Over to you, Sarah.
Hi, guys. Thank you all so much for coming on. I'm so happy that you guys are taking some time out of your days. I'm sure you'd rather be sleeping or eating or working or something. Anyways, I'm so excited to finally announce our distribution division in Audiobooks Unleashed. We've been working on it for a really long time. A few people here probably know about it since we had some beta testers going on, but we wanted to make sure we had all of the kinks worked out before we let everybody know. We knew there would be a lot of questions. So let's start off with the basics. Nothing to do with us for a second. So let's talk about the difference between production, publishing, and distribution. Because a lot of people sometimes are like, well, what exactly is distribution? What is going on here? So there are production companies and producers. As a narrator, as most of you probably know, from if you're doing ACX contracts, you are a producer. So if someone has a production company, they are essentially doing what producers are doing. They're doing the whole process of what a narrator is doing, and they will do it for the author. Maybe they'll do it for a fee, maybe they'll do it for a royalty percentage, maybe they're even buying the rights. If they're buying the rights to an audiobook, that tends to make them fall into a publishing company. Lines kind of get blurred. Doesn't really matter. But when you're looking at places and they're saying they're a publishing company, they're a publisher, or they're a distributor or aggregator, those are the differences. Somebody like, you could say Findaway Voices, you could say they are Findaway Voices, which is different from Findaway. Findaway Voices has their own production services, production company. So you've got that going. ACX, yeah, they're production and they're also distribution. ACX is its beast. We know it goes straight to Audible and iTunes and Apple. So then you have distribution. Distribution is just taking the final product and then putting it out to wherever it's going to go. So ACX puts it out to Audible, iTunes, and Apple. Findaway puts it out to a whole list of places. Authors Republic puts it out to some places. So, and we will put it out to some places, of course. So that's what a distributor is. A distributor literally takes the finished product, doesn't have anything to do with the production, doesn't have anything to do with the rights, and puts it out and gets your work out there. Now, Audiobooks Unleashed has always been about making your way of conducting business work for you. And we're all about helping small businesses. Narrators and producers are small businesses. Authors are small businesses. And I believe that you should be able to conduct your business in the way you want to. And also, everyone works differently. I don't think that you should be held to the way certain things work. I don't think you should be held to going on ACX and submitting the first 15 minutes when we all know you can submit samples from other parts of the book, or maybe you do voice samples, and you have to communicate on channels and do certain things, and it ties you to a website rather than yourself as a business and your brand. And there's nothing wrong with ACX. And throughout this whole thing, I want to say that I'm not bashing any form of distribution, any production company, anything like that. My goal here is to give you guys the options with the introduction of Audiobooks Unleashed, which is a new option. And anyone is free to message me, for anything, but I am not going to come to you and say, oh yes, you have to go to Audiobooks Unleashed. I believe that everybody should go to the best option for them, for whatever it is. And there are reasons to go to different places, and we can go through that. So I'm very happy to help everybody find their best solution. But again, I am really focused on helping you run your own small business, especially, and everyone says, well, how do I have personal, professional, but how do I have individual relationships with authors, with rights holders? How do I make my own business instead of being beholden to a system? And that is what we believe in. When it comes to your promo codes, which is how we started, it's about giving you guys an opportunity to market your own books, giving you guys a platform where you have a fan base, you have a place where there is traffic on the website, but it's giving you a tool to market your own books and to use that link and to use everything that you have at your disposal while giving you a tool to help your small business run the way it should. That is what our distribution division is. We're going to give you guys a tool that you wouldn't otherwise be able to access unless you were going through very stringent channels, if you were going through the sort of self-production route. So we work with self-publishing, so indie authors. We work with small publishers. We work directly with narrators and with authors. And now you guys might be thinking, well, how does this really apply to me? That's great, but, isn't this a discussion for authors? Authors are the ones who have the rights. Authors are the ones who go through this whole process and who decide who narrates their audiobook and who they distribute through. Now, this is where I think things should change. Of course, the ultimate decision is with the author, But like I said, you want your relationship with the author to be a unique professional one and not be beholden to any channel. And we'll discuss how you can cold contact authors, or besides, there are many other avenues to have these personal relationships, and how going through Audiobooks Unleashed is a way to allow you to pull away from what the conventions would be. So say you're with an author on ACX, you've worked with them before, maybe you're doing a second book for them, and you discuss the option of going through Audiobooks Unleashed instead. Well, suddenly you're taking this author away from, or you're giving the author an option to, walk away from a strict system and do things on their own, because you guys would work production out by yourselves. That's not for everybody, but we don't handle production. So what we do is, though, we give you guys the opportunity to make a contract for yourselves. You don't have to. We give you the opportunity to organize your workflow. You don't have to. You can do whatever you want your own way, and all we ask is for a record signed by the two of you, the rights holder and the narrator, or however many narrators there are.
Can I ask you a question? Not to cut you off, but just to make it clearer, because I've got an immediate question. So does that mean if you were to bypass ACX altogether and you were to produce the files for the writer, and then we transfer them to Audiobooks Unleashed, you could distribute them and they would appear on major channels just like they would with ACX? We could bypass ACX altogether, or do they need to go through ACX as well?
Sorry, so that I did skip over that. You can bypass ACX altogether. You don't have to deal with that. But like I'm saying, not trying to pull you away from ACX, not trying to be a competitor. You can go through ACX and still come to us, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But especially for people who, want to have control over their business more, and they don't want to leave that part of the business to somebody else, you can absolutely go through ACX. Don't have to go through us, and you can come with us instead. But you do need to be in a non-exclusive agreement. So we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, thanks for asking. I wasn't very clear about that. What was I talking about? I lose my...
Sorry, that was my fault. That was
my
fault. Okay. So you don't produce them, you distribute them.
Yes.
We do all the arrangements and contracts with the writer.
Yes. And you're cold contacting authors. What am I talking about? I lost it now. Yes. Okay. So I'm just going to talk and something's going to come out of my mouth. So small businesses is what I'm just going to keep coming back to. And, I was saying, why am I talking to you instead of authors? We are geared towards the producer side. I feel that there is a part of the business that is lacking, where everyone is trying to target authors with all of this information. And that's great. And some of them are great at it. But an author's job is to write. And a lot of them get confused. And a lot of them don't know about all these details. And it's not their job to know. Some do, and that's fantastic. But their job isn't to know about the intricacies of distribution of production companies. And a lot of them want to pick the voice they like and press a button and be done. And that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And giving an author the choice and then telling the producer what's going on is difficult, because the producer is the one who's doing everything as far as the actual production of an audiobook goes. The writer, in a way, has kind of done their job. So it's like, find a way. We have to find... Oh, wow, there's lots of questions. I'm gonna move the chat so I can't see it.
Yes. Ignore the chat. Ignore the chat. I'll throw them all at you in the end.
I'll lose my train of thought.
And yes, it is recorded. I'll start off with that. It is being recorded, and it's going to be on the YouTube playlist. So you might want to stay properly dressed and not do anything embarrassing in the background, just in case. Go ahead, Sarah.
But anyways, yeah, so we're geared towards the narrator, because the narrator is also the producer for the most part. You guys need to know these things. You need to know your RMS levels. You need to know how you're file naming, and you know the process because you do the process. And so we're geared towards you, and we're geared towards helping you guys, again, reach out to your authors and take care of this. Now, besides that, we also will be having an audition forum up, which is a completely free service that allows you guys to receive auditions from rights holders and audition for them and give them a platform. They need to find a narrator. They find a narrator. It's a super simple website, and it just kind of offers you guys the opportunity, and we can go through that a little bit later. That's not live yet. And also, we will be creating a sort of Chirp-like retail site. And for anybody who distributes through us, you guys will be able to be a part of that. And we can go into that a little bit later. That's just like a little sneak preview. We have both of those websites set up, but we haven't gone live with them yet. So,
I've had a question, and it seems actually like a good question to ask right now, way at the beginning.
yep.
Somebody wanted to know if you could kind of maybe walk us through, like, we send a message through contact on Audiobooks Unleashed and say, hi, Sarah. Maybe walk us through the process so that they have more of an idea how they approach you, how it works.
Absolutely. So let's do a step-by-step playback file that works. That works really well with what I was about to say next. So we'll go through it. So right now we're small in the fact that we do screen. We screen for quality. We screen for meeting specifications, and not everybody comes through. That being said, what the words of an audiobook are, what the story of an audiobook is, that's not me. That's not for me to judge. You know, someone's creative integrity is their art, and that's not for me to judge. But we will be checking your files, and they will bounce back. So the first thing I want to say about that is, if anyone's unsure if their files will meet specifications, they're absolutely free to send us a sample, which will go to our QC team. So if anyone's worried about that before they're making an audiobook, that's the first thing I want to say. And we have a lovely QC team. The head of our team, his name is Mark. He's fantastic. And we're about helping you. So we're not just going to bounce you back and go, no, your files don't meet. Sorry, bud. We're going to tell you why they don't meet, how we can help you, and ways for you to learn how to make your files meet. If you want someone to just take care of it for you, we have engineering services. So again, giving you those tools. But anyways, you don't need to check your samples. You're good. You know what's going on. You want to get a book through. You shoot me an email at info@audiobooksunleashed.com. Okay? You talk to me about it. We chill. We go for it. You want to bypass that altogether? You can. But that's how we can start a personal relationship together. I'll leave a link, but our website portal, it's very simple. You guys know audiobooksunleashed.com. To access our portal, it's distribution.audiobooksunleashed.com. When you go to that website, let's do it now. Can you share my screen, Daniela?
Yes. Hold on one second. Yeah, remind me to answer a question. Okay, hold on. Sarah, you are the host, so you can hit the share screen on the bottom.
Cool. Let me just make a new tab.
Since you're going through ACX still, will we still have the wait times that ACX has?
So, two parts to that question. We are going to go through Audible directly eventually. However, we need to wait for our catalog to go up a little bit, because Audible is notorious for giving you a really, really bad deal unless you've got, a ton of books in your catalog. So while we're going to go through Audible directly and completely bypass ACX, we are waiting a moment. Okay. Just put my first book through ACX and it went live in, I would say, like 9 days. So that might not be indicative of the future, but that's how long it took for our first book. So hopefully that helps. Also, I'm going to be annoying and just call them if they put me through a long wait. But that's how it's gone down so far. But yes, unfortunately, since I will be putting it through ACX, there is always a chance. Again, you can put it through yourself unless you're doing an RS agreement, and we'll talk about that in a second. So let me share my screen. Desktop 1. Oh, it's putting me through a whole thing. Okay, it's not letting me do it.
It's not letting you share the screen.
It is, but I have to exit to share the screen. It's fine. We're just going to talk about it. It's all good. Do you want to go on, Daniela?
Yeah, I'll become the host again. If you can make me the host again. Do you know how to do it? Click the more next to my name. Like hover on the right-hand side of my name, click more.
Got it. You're a host.
Got it. Okay. Got it. Okay, so you're just going to talk us through the slide?
Yeah, sure. It's super, super easy.
Okay.
I mean, literally, there's 2 buttons on the website. It's optional too.
Okay. Okay, we're back. So the floor is back to you, Sarah.
Great. Okay, great. You go on the website. There's an option on the bottom. You can create an account. It just either says log into the portal. You can only log in if you have an account. And the second one says create a new production agreement. And that's what you click. You don't have to email me first. You can click on that, and we have a pre-done, laid out production agreement for you where you tell me the title of the audiobook, you give me all the details, and you tell me what your agreement is. So you tell me if you had a PFH agreement, if you had a royalty share agreement, a royalty deferred agreement, hybrid, whatever. Both you and the author sign it. That is so, just in case anything ever goes down, we have the proof that you guys both agreed to it. More importantly, that's how we pay you guys. With that, with your email, that's how we pay you guys, or at least give you the option to get paid. That's how we give you your monthly reports, etc., etc. You can use that as your contract with your author. It's got all of the details. Now, you can also make your own, maybe add stipulations into it. But if you're, if the idea of making your own contract makes you, a little finicky, we've got everything there for you. Now, you submit something. We review it. We look at everything personally. So that's another thing is ACX scams, stuff like that. Looking all these, yesterday, like 20 emotional intelligence books came up on ACX or something. That won't happen. We actually already had a scam submission. I don't know how, because we weren't public yet. Turned them down right away. Actually sent them a really funny message. Did not get a response. That's not the point. Yeah, so you do that. Once you're approved, we set up your portal for you. We set up the audiobook. We shoot you a message. We tell you it's up. And it's just a little itemized list of exactly what to do, exact instructions, and you have the option to sort of like check them off as you go, because it's satisfying for me. So I thought it might be satisfying for you. And you upload everything into one beautiful Google Drive folder that you have a link to. You let me know when you're done. We take it from there. Our QC team checks it out. We'll let you know if there's any issues, and that's it.
And as long as they pass ACX requirements, they're going to pass you because your QC is ensuring they go through ACX, right?
Yes, it's ensuring we go through ACX. We do have a few changes, like for our cover photo. If possible, we would like it to be higher quality than ACX's minimums, but we have a whole outline of exactly what our requirements are. And for the most part, if you're passing ACX check, if you're passing second opinion, you're good to go. We actually even say if you have a copy of a second opinion report, if you use it and you attach that, it makes our lives so much easier. So please do that. Okay, so let's talk about the actual agreements. Let's talk about why a lot of us are here. Let's talk about royalty shares.
Before we go off, can I ask from what you were talking about before? Somebody wants to know, does that mean that your engineering services, that they could just do punch and roll, send it straight out and pay you, and it would be mastered and edited? Is that what you mean?
You can, absolutely. Yeah. So we offer engineering services. Like if you're hiring an editor, you send us the raw punch and roll files for a fee. And, the way you would anybody else, guaranteed to pass all specs. You just do that, you're done, you're good to go, and it goes right through. So that's also an option for you. You can inquire about that personally. Eventually, we will have a beautiful spreadsheet and all of that going. But right now, it's still in little simple phases. Okay. Any other questions that are good for right now?
Somebody's saying, will you have a choice of high quality authors, more RS plus and PFH books? But that doesn't make sense because we're still getting the authors ourselves. We're bringing the authors to Sarah. Am I right, Sarah? It's not like you've got a
Yeah,
pool of authors that we're auditioning for.
You're bringing the authors. We do have our audition forum. So for the audition forum, which isn't completely live yet, you have to be on our roster. You get on our roster just by, it's not like some fancy thing. You apply, we look at your stuff, you send a sample, we click the button. You're a legitimate narrator. Go ahead. And we're going to have authors who have already been working with us who are like, well, where do I find new people I can trust, who I know will pass requirements? They'll be on that website. So we'll have that. So that will happen, but that's really a free service for you guys. You know, we monitor it, but it's for you guys to work with. So other than that, yes, you're bringing your own authors to us. Okay. So let's talk about why I think everybody's really here, or a lot of you, royalty shares. Okay. So we have 4 different options for how you get paid, for how you make an agreement. Okay. That's called PFH, per finished hour. I'm going to treat this like if somebody doesn't know, we're going to go through it all. PFH, per finished hour. Royalty split. You guys would know that kind of as RS, royalty shares. Royalty hybrid, similar to RS plus, royalty share plus. And royalties deferred. My little baby. My pride and joy.
That's the one that got me really excited.
Why we made this whole thing in the first place. So let's go through it. PFH, per finished hour. For people who don't know, not a problem. So you are paid per finished hour of your audiobook. So if the final audiobook is 10 hours, you're paid for 10 hours of an audiobook. Union minimum is $250 per hour. So you set your rate, say it's $250 per hour. It's $250 times 10. If you have a 10-hour book, that's $2,500. So I'm like, it is, right? Yes. Yeah. Right. So.
Right. Don't worry. You got it.
Okay. So in that case, the author pays you before anything happens. So you do not upload your files until the author pays you. That's your job. Make sure you do not. The author pays you, you upload the files. It's all in your little contract. Okay? That's it. You're done. The author gets the royalties. You live a happy life. You go on to your next book. Congratulations. Come to us again. That's option number 1. Then we've got royalty split, also known on ACX as royalty share. Is it the same thing? No, kind of, a little bit. So it's essentially royalty share, but in any way you want. We're especially geared towards people who have multicast books, people who have more than one rights holder, which is like a complicated situation, but it does happen. Just means you split royalties in any way you want. 90%, 10%, 40%, 60%, 50-50. You want to split it between 8 people? You split it between 8 people. I wonder how much money you'll make, but go for it. That's royalty share. You fill that out in your little contract thing. You tell us once a month, you get your royalties. That'd be great. As a side note, once a month, you get paid. Once a month, you get a report that has your sales. You can track your sales. There's no live reporting like there is on ACX because it's impossible to have accurate numbers. We distribute to over 35 platforms. Some of them don't even report their units until quarterly installments come up. So for that reason, it's impossible, but you will always get a monthly report. To that end, some platforms only pay quarterly. So we'll tell you what's going on, but you might not get paid from Google until the quarter comes. So that's just to be very upfront with everybody. That's just how it works. But you're informed every step of the way. Once we have money, you have money within 30 days. That's how it works. there's something else I was going to say about that. Oh, we do reserve the right to wait until you've accumulated $50 to pay you out, which is easier for accounting purposes if we're giving everybody a million different things. But if for some reason $50 doesn't become accumulated by the end of the year, then of course you get your money. We're not hanging on to it. So that was royalty share.
Quick question. Somebody wants to know, what is the royalty split? What is the royalty cut that Audio Unleashed takes? Is it the same as the ACX one?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's take a break for a second. We have two more royalty options to talk about.
Okay, yeah. We'll wait.
No, we're good. Let's take that.
Okay.
Oh yeah, can I talk about that right after, just so I don't lose my train?
Yeah, we're getting the royalty questions are coming in fast and hard. So you finish what you're talking about with all of them, and then I'll hit you with all the royalty questions.
Yeah, give me 1 second, and then hit me, because okay. So then we've got royalty hybrid. Okay, some very similar to RS Plus, pretty much RS Plus. So that is that you get a upfront cost, whether it's $500 a flat fee, or it's 50 PFH, 100 PFH, whatever you want to call it. A lot of people use that to cover editing costs. And then after that, you split royalties, whether it's 50-50, 20-60, et cetera, et cetera. The good thing is if you have multiple narrators, you can give each of them different options as well. That's more of an author thing, but that's what you can do. So you've got that. You can also do a mix of all of them. You can do whatever you want. We're here to help. Now comes our beautiful child, and that is royalty deferred. And this, I believe, I know, if I may be so bold, is the future of royalty options. This is the way to go. This is the way that incentivizes both parties and protects the narrator, protects the producer. Say an author doesn't have enough money to pay up front. Or they do, but they want to dedicate their budget towards marketing, the marketing that every author should have. They want a great narrator. They don't know if they can afford one, but they've got really good content, or they've got great sales, or maybe they can afford it, but this is just the system that works well for them. You guys vet your books. You see what you want. A lot of people don't do regular royalty share options. It's too much of a risk, and I completely understand. Other people, they do great. They vet things out, they take their risk, they calculate it, and they make a great business decision, and they make a lot of money. But it is still a risk. It's always a risk. And books that you think will do fantastic can completely flop. And books that you were like, all right, and then all of a sudden they take off. You don't know sometimes. It is a gamble. So how do we mitigate that risk as much as possible is the question. And how do we keep making smart business decisions? And after we do questions, we can go into that too, and I can try to help you guys with that. Maybe that's a conversation for another time also, because that's just a lot of information. Royalties deferred. The author, ignore me, the narrator receives 100% of the royalties. 100%. Until a certain amount is met. So say your rate is 250 PFH. You say, I believe in your work. Great. I won't ask for anything up front. 250 PFH is my rate. Would you agree to paying 250 PFH deferred? So any money that gets made from royalties goes 100% to the narrator until 250 PFH is met, and then it goes back to the author. My fiance is saying I'm doing well. Thank you. He knows I was nervous. So, or there are other options. You say, all right, but I need to cover my editing costs. So you start making a hybrid agreement. Give me 50 PFH up front, or a flat fee of $300, $500, whatever it is. Let me cover my editing costs, and then give me up to 100 PFH. Give me $500. You get all of that. So it's really, that's my whole point, is it's what works for you, what works for your business. Let's stick to a simple nothing up front. You get everything until 250 PFH, and then they get everything. Or you can do whatever. Let's stick with 250 PFH. You get 250 PFH, and then you guys split it 50-50. You know, I have an agreement right now. I won't say who it is, but they're doing a flat fee of $300 up front. Then the narrator gets everything until 225 PFH is hit. And then after 225 PH, it gets split 80% author, 20% narrator. So not my business to know how they came to that agreement, but that's their agreement. We've got it, no problem. Now, the reason that this is so revolutionary is because it incentivizes both parties to market their audiobook. First of all, the author's not paying anything up front, so there's really no excuse to at least put a reasonable, financially, acceptable amount into some marketing. Okay? The author's also not getting paid at all until you do. The author stays incentivized to promote their work and not let it fall to the background. And remember, you made a smart business decision. So you believe that this is something that's going to sell. You believe in this author in the first place. So you're not just throwing things out there, okay? You believe in this author. You made a smart choice. You are making all the royalties. So you want to promote that book. You want to work for it. Now, some people say it's not your job to promote as the author. Babe. Sorry. He's building a bench for us for our new apartment. Anyways. He's very excited. Anyways, you promote your work. Social distancing, guys. Working at home. Let's be real, though. We all always work at home. Okay. So, you're making all the money. You want to work for that book. Now, some people say that authors should not market. I disagree. I really disagree. Doesn't mean you should spend money on it. But hey, I started Audiobooks Unleashed. I really do believe in you guys promoting yourself. And there are ways to do that that are intelligent and that don't take up too much of your time. Again, there are so many things I could talk about. But that's royalties deferred, okay? Now, I said that's great for authors, for narrators. Are authors going to go for this? So I reached out. I did a test thing. Oh my God, everybody was like, that's great. I am so okay with that, because in the hopes that I will get a narrator who really believes in my story and, is a good narrator with great talent. Everybody was on board. Everybody. I mean, I don't know if somebody would respond to me and say, screw you, this is a horrible idea. But to the point that I started getting in 10 contracts before we were even really started. So I can say to you, if you're asking if authors are going to be...
Sorry, I'm totally excited. I'm interrupting you, but they're not paying anything. They're getting something for free. And this way they have a chance of getting something for free that's actually good quality and not somebody just walking around the park on their phone reading their audiobook. So that's it. Pretend I didn't interrupt. Go ahead.
No, you're good. And you can work on something that you're passionate on without worrying about actually costing yourself money, at least to the degree that it would be otherwise. So that's our royalty deferred option. I believe so strongly in. And I'm very, very excited to share that with you guys. And again, you can make a hybrid deal out of that. You can do whatever you want to. Now, let's talk about what everybody really wants to know, which is how much am I going to get paid? So, pretty simple, really. We're going to talk in terms of rights holder, just because, you guys you work out your own agreements. Let's just talk as I'm paying one person here. So the rights holder gets 80 to 90% of what they make. We keep 10 to 20% as a commission. And I can assure you, we do a lot of work. So we are working hard for that commission. Where's that range coming from? 80 to 90%? 90%. They keep 90% of royalties for ACX, so Audible, iTunes, Apple, same thing, Amazon, the drill. and Chirp, which is big. So for Apple, iTunes, ACX, Amazon, Audible, and Chirp.
Somebody's
90%.
saying, is that 90% of the 40%?
90% of the 40%. Yeah, like what you mean. So it's 90% of what we receive. So say you're in an exclusive agreement with Audible, you get 40%. We take the 40%, we give you 90% of it. Yes. So that's how that works. And I can give you guys, since my screen share isn't working, I was gonna show you, but we have a breakdown of examples of exactly how that works, and how that goes. So everything else is 80%. We keep 20.
But you see, they're getting, okay, so if I have my book on ACX and I'm getting 40%, then if I give you the book, I'm only getting 90% of that 40%, but then I'm also getting 90% of royalties coming from other places that I might not have been getting them from if it was just on ACX. Am I right about that?
Yes. So your books will be going to 35 plus other places. The book industry is 70% of sales are international. International sales not only are the future, they are the present. And they are the future. And that is the thing. Yes, we are wide distribution, if that was not clear. We are wide distribution. Not only that, we are in all of the libraries. Not only are we in the libraries, we have physical copies of your audiobooks, CDs that go into libraries for distribution that are sold, especially due to coronavirus. This was interesting. I was talking to...
Let me stop you, Sarah, because a really good point came up. Somebody just said that if it's a non-exclusive book, you're only getting 25%.
Yeah, give me one
second. We're getting 90% of 25%, not 90% of 40%.
Yeah, so I was about to say that we are cool with you guys going through ACX by yourself because you don't have to pay its commission. It's totally fine, not a problem. If you get that 40%. You are getting that 40% because you are doing an exclusive distribution agreement with ACX. You cannot go anywhere else. Why would you do that with us instead of by yourself? Because we can do for you the deferred option, splitting between a bunch of people, etc. That is why you would go through us to do a PFH, to do an option exclusively through ACX for that 40%. If that doesn't apply to you, go to ACX and not us. It's a better deal for you.
So if they go straight to you, then you're sending it through to ACX. So we're still talking 90% of 25%, because for you to send it to ACX and all the other people, it's only the 25% that we're talking about. But still, that's a lot. That's 25%, but it's also 35 other.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is before that, the reason that you would get the 40%, which is that's an exclusive agreement, the reason you would go through us instead of ACX for the 40% agreement is if you wanted a royalty deferred option, because obviously ACX can't do that. So that on its own, everything else would be wide distribution. If you're doing wide distribution, you get 25% from ACX. That's just how it works. Now, why would you go to us instead? Because how are you going to get to all of these other places otherwise? There is Find a Way, and we can talk about that, and there are those options. Putting that away for a second. You can put in non-exclusive for 25%, but you still have to get to all these other places. And not only do we distribute to all of these other places, we give you engineering services if you need them. We have physical CDs made, like I was saying. We even have services to translate your audiobook production into a Spanish production because of the booming services going on there. And we're even looking into Spanish ebooks. Putting that away for a second. 25%. We keep 90. You guys keep, we keep 10. You guys keep 90. That's less then find a way. Find a way keeps 20 of your 25 if you're going to ACX through them. And you do if you do their one sort of voices share option where you can also get bought out. I don't know, pushing that aside as well. If that doesn't work for you, then go through it. But us taking 10%, I have to say, is really not a lot when you're actually putting that together, and you're getting 35 plus other platforms. So I do really think it's the way to go. Now, something that you can also do, I guess, is if you're doing an RS, just a regular RS split with your author, I mean, you could go to ACX. We'd have to talk about that. You could go to ACX by yourself. Well, no, you can't. Ignore me. That's the whole reason that you can't do that. Whew, sorry. You can't go by yourself to do a royalty share agreement, because all royalty share agreements in ACX are ACX exclusive. So you cannot get your audiobook on Audible through ACX and also give it wide distribution if you're in a royalty share agreement. I can do that for you. You cannot, unfortunately, do that on your own. Does that make sense to everybody? Because that's the big point here. Yeah. Or is anybody confused in the chat, Daniela?
No. Josie is saying that she has a file that she can share. People are asking for the information. I'm trying to find the best way to do that, because I can make her a host, but then I think she would be sharing the screen, and that's not what we want. I'm wondering if maybe it would be just a good idea to post it on the group.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll put it right on
after the call, and then that way everyone can get it, and they can get it later on as well.
Okay, great. So yeah, let's talk about exclusive and non-exclusive for a second. So that's what I was going to go into next, and I think that'll clear everything up. So let's just talk about ACX for a second. You've got exclusive agreements and you've got non-exclusive agreements with ACX. Okay? If you're in an exclusive agreement with them, it means you cannot distribute anywhere else. ACX will take you to Audible, iTunes, and Apple. You do that, and you get 40%. Split with your author if you're doing a royalty share. Which, if you're doing a royalty share, you can only do an exclusive agreement. Then you have non-exclusive. I don't know why I've done these hands things, but I'm going with it. You have non-exclusive. If you do a non-exclusive agreement, Audible gives you, ACX gives you 25%. You can only do a non-exclusive agreement, meaning you can then do wide distribution if it's a PFH agreement. You cannot do any type of royalty agreement unless it's exclusive. So you go to us because we can do it for you, and we can get your book on Audible and everywhere else as a royalty share agreement, and we have royalty deferred. That is why you go through us. Now, 40% for exclusive, 25% for non-exclusive. Let's talk about, for a second, is your book eligible to become non-exclusive? This is something that you should talk about with your authors, especially if you already have agreements with them and you believe it would be in everyone's best interest to do wide distribution, which I truly do believe. Audible has now become saturated because of ACX, because anybody can really go on there. And because of that, Audible's marketing has become to really push up celebrity books, which is great. I love listening to celebrities. But it's really kicked out the lovely, unique indie market because it's been so saturated. And that is why, wide distribution has become really popular. And you'll see that listeners agree with that. Listeners like to feel like they found a narrator. We've all seen that sort of craze. They like to feel like they've found something special. I really believe in wide distribution. I think that it's 100% the way to go. So, can you make your exclusive agreement non-exclusive? Sometimes. If you have a PFH book After 1 year on Audible, if it was exclusive, it can be made non-exclusive. It must be live for 1 year, and then it can be changed. No questions asked. All the author needs to do, who has all of the rights, is send an email, say they want to switch it to non-exclusive. They might send you an email back being like, oh, we want to confirm, like, stay with us. And he or she says, no, thank you. It's non-exclusive. You're good to go. Now, if you're in production right now, you're uploading files, people are listening to files, you're like, oh my God, shoot, this would have been perfect, but I'm about to submit a book. If you didn't press submit, you're good to go. If it's an exclusive royalty share agreement and you did not press submit with both of your consent, you can take it down. No penalties, no kill fees or anything. You just have to both, consent to it. Lastly, if you already have an RS, royalty share book up on Audible, it is exclusive because only royalty share books can be exclusive. There's no non-exclusive option there. Can you make it non-exclusive? The answer is no, you can't, because you're stuck in a 7-year agreement with Audible. When the author makes that agreement, it's for 7 years. However, depending on who you're talking to, if you get a nice person at ACX, they might do it for you. You can always try. You can always try. But according to their contract, no. I would say something along the lines of, you want to get it redone or recreated, something like that. You're going to go right back on, and we will put it right back on for you. That's the whole thing. It's not like it's not going to be on Audible. So those are your options. That's how it can work, from exclusive to non-exclusive. Who has questions about that?
Lots of questions. Okay, I'm going to hit you with them, right?
Okay, let's do it.
See what we've not got. Guys, I'm going to get all of yours if we haven't already asked it. Okay, is it recorded? Yes, this is recorded. Do the files have to go through it? We've answered a lot of these. The distributor takes the finished product and gets it to retailers, putting the audiobook on sale. Okay. Sorry, we've gone through quite a lot of these. The engineering services, people had a lot of questions about how to get on your roster. Am I right that you said it was a simple, just click a few buttons and prove you're a narrator, and it's not open yet, but it'll be clear when it is open?
For the audition forum, yeah. For just like submitting an audiobook to us, you don't have to worry about that. You submit your production agreement. Good to go.
But will there be hard things to, hoops to jump through for the audition forum, or is it?
No, guys, it's just going to, first of all, it's that you know what you're doing. Really, it's going to be, we're going to ask you to send us a finished sample. We're going to run it through our specs and see if you meet specs. And if you don't meet specs, we're going to come back to you and ask you why, because the important thing about this here is that people who are working with us need to understand how the production aspects work, because they are going to be, leading their authors sort of thing. So because we are a narrator and producer driven business, we need to make sure that the narrators and the producers know what they're doing and aren't going to necessarily confuse the authors that they're helping. But you can always ask us any questions. So it's not going to be difficult. No, it's just to make sure that Joe Schmo on his phone isn't, we need to make sure that the talent we're providing for the authors is quality, and that they can hire a narrator from the audition forum, and then we're not going to turn around and go, oh, no, your narrator wasn't good and nothing meets specs. So it's nothing to worry about.
Okay, and I went ahead and answered this one. I just faked it, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Somebody said, do the file naming conventions have to be the same? But since I'd already sent you a book from my writer before, I just used the same file names and it went through. So am I assuming you can use the same naming convention you do for ACX to submit to you?
Actually, it is different.
Oh, whoops. Did mine not go through?
No, I did it for you, Daniela. Okay. For our beta people, we were doing it ourselves.
Okay.
It's super easy, guys. And if it's like your first book and you need help, we can figure it out for you. It's all, when you go in, it's all the instructions you'll see there, but you're going to be naming your book by your ISBN number. We could talk about what an ISBN number is, but your ISBN, you don't actually have to say number. But in your portal, it's going to be like a thing right here that says ISBN. You're going to name it just like that. And we can go through all of that. And it's very easy. It's not difficult. And if you're like, oh, shoot, I already named all my files, there's a button that you can click on when you search it on Google, you just click a button and it'll change all the file names for you. And if it's really confusing to you, we can do it for you for the first couple times and show you guys how it works. But it's super easy, and it's also the industry standard. So once you move away from ACX, if you are producing your own files and not sending raw audio, it is standard to be naming it by the ISBN number, which is that like beautiful little number.
So I should probably then ask the other question that I answered, assuming I knew the answer.
Okay.
But somebody else said the same thing. Somebody had said, does the author approve the final audio, and how do they do that if we don't upload them until after we're paid? And I said, am I right, that because we have more freedom, we also have more responsibility communicating with the author, and we have to manage the relationship with the author.
That's correct. This is for you to manage your relationship. We are your tool. Now, if you need to you want to really upload it through us, and you leave a note, it's not ready yet or something, that's fine. Go for it. Again, let us help you, but you guys should run your own businesses, and we're here to help you do that, because we don't want to be beholden to you. So if you want to use our drive just to send files back and forth, go ahead, but make sure that you don't tell us that your stuff is complete. We're going to wait for you to shoot us a message in the comments saying, okay, we're done, go ahead. So until we get that from you, we're not going to send anything anywhere. Make sense?
Okay, so sorry, more questions. Josie posted, is it Josie?
Yeah, everyone, this is Josie. I didn't know if she was on here. She's amazing, and she works for Audiobooks Unleashed. And if you don't know who she is, she's fantastic, and I'm sure we'll be answering most of your questions.
She posted the PDF for you guys on the Cup of Joe website group page. So if you want to go back and look at it for future reference, Josie, unmute yourself and say hi.
Yeah. Hi.
Thank you very much for that, Josie, and for fielding half the questions for me. Okay, so I've got Craig saying that he wants the PDF in his sweaty little hands.
Oh, Craig's here. Guys, Craig has a new production company, and it's amazing, and he is partnering with us.
Yay. I know, it's like, but seriously, after Adventures in Narrating, it's like, seriously, guys, with these new businesses and being entrepreneurs, slow down. You're making me feel like I'm lucky I brush my teeth in the morning. Every time I turn around, you guys are like starting a new mogul empire.
I just want to say that we're taking over the world politely.
You are.
Narrators taking over the world. So we've got Audiobooks Unleashed, and then we have our engineering services. Then we don't handle production for you, but somebody wants production handled for them, we're going to go to Craig or anybody else that we have partnered with, but we've officially partnered with Craig. If you need, help with casting, you're going to go to our casting services. If you need that, you're going to go to that. So if you guys have your own businesses also, if you're working on something new, come to us, partner with us. Like, we're all here to help each other. And the whole point is to make a hub. You run your own business, and when you need something, you reach out and you click on the thing that you need and you go. And we take over the world as narrators. The end. That's the goal.
Okay, so Michael says he already has 2 authors on board, and it's not even live yet. Yay! Tracy is so funny. Tracy, I swear to you, the authors will like it. Tracy's like, wait a minute, but the author makes 0. Tracy, they will love it. I swear, just take my word for it. I have 2 authors that would love this option. They want to make money and me make money. PFH is costly up front. What are the lengths of the contracts? 7 years, non-exclusive, or do producers decide? Thanks, Kendra. That's a good question. Did you already answer that?
No, not at all. You have to be with us for 6 months, and then you can leave. In case you hate us, please don't leave. Don't hate us. But we're going to give you that magic escape clause. Don't use it. The contracts are in perpetuity, meaning forever. And before you go, wait, what? It's for your benefit. You can leave at any time with the mutual agreement of both parties. So we're not going to, the author can't say, no, I want this taken down. And you go, no, I'm making money. Not going to fly. Okay? You both have to agree. And it comes down. We hope you stay with us forever. That'd be really nice. But as long as you both agree, if it's a royalty share option, and away it goes. If it's a PFH option, you've been paid. They want to take it down. They'll take it down. You don't care. We'll figure it out. It'll be good. We'll talk. I mean, you guys still have to talk about it, but but you don't have to worry about your royalties getting suddenly taken away or getting bought out or something. It's all up to you guys. We're just facilitating.
So Jennifer is interested in more info about the post-production services. Is it already live? Is it still to come? If so, how far in the future?
Yeah, we're live on it. When you go on our distribution website, it's so complicated. There's 3 buttons. There's just 3 buttons. That's it. It's a portal for you guys. So you're not going to see all of this like advertising information everywhere. You will eventually. But right now we are like really doing this whole personal experience. So you just message us. You just message us and you say that you are interested in the agreement. You talk, you tell us what you need. We give you a rate. You say, nah, doesn't work for me. Bye. Or you say, okay, let's do this. And yeah, we've got it all set up and ready to go. What we do ask is that you're patient with us because we are just beginning. And we have actually over 200 books that are slated in pre-production. So we have a ton coming, and we have about 20 that are actually being sent out this week as our very first wave. And we have 1 book that's like circulating everywhere because it was tested in all of the channels. So you guys are like with us from the start. And that's really what we want, is to go on this together. So we want your feedback. We want you to tell us what's working and what's not working, but also just know to be a little patient with us, please, as we go through all of this, and make really what's best for you guys. So yeah, we're up and running with all of that, just not with the audition platform yet, because we know that will come with a lot of questions, and we just want to make sure that we're good to go yet. But we will start taking in narrator applications for the roster to build up really soon, probably within like next week or 2.
Okay, so this question keeps coming up, and I think people are having a hard time getting their heads around it. And I think it's because we've had so many experiences with ACX authors. Somebody else is again saying, Leonore is saying, some authors like to listen to the whole book once uploaded before final payment. How will this be handled with Audiobooks Unleashed? I'm assuming you have to share the files yourself before sending them to you and work it out with the writer yourself before it even goes to you?
That's what you should be doing. You can use our platform. Now, when you do ours, I should have said, it's not like you're not uploading it into like ACX's sort of thing where you have to like upload each file and type the name in. No. You're just taking your files in a zip file and you're just uploading them into Google Drive. It's really super simple. The author, if they want to listen to those files, clicking on them, and you can listen to them in Google Drive or you can download them. So whether they're tech savvy or not, you just click a button. I would recommend you do it yourself, that you make your own Google Drive or WeTransfer or however you want to do files. If the author's not tech savvy, you just have to teach them once. It's not that hard. All of them have a computer that when you click on it will automatically bring up something to play.
But Sarah, the crucial thing there is that if I'd heard you right in the beginning, once you upload those files to Google Drive, we're saying that we've been paid. So there's no waiting for us to hit the confirm button. So if you're talking letting the author hear it before they pay you and approve it, and you upload those files to Google Drive and the author says, actually, the way you pronounced, the first word in the book, I don't like it, and it's 400 instances, could you please change it? You're out of luck, aren't you? I mean, you can't hold that book with you guys.
I'll interrupt you just because I was mistaken myself. If you upload the files, you're fine. You have to comment on the bottom. There's a little space to comment that you're finished. If you don't comment that you're finished, we're not going to send them.
Okay.
That was me misspeaking.
Sorry, so you can hold that book. So as long as you didn't comment, you're not giving your approval to submit the book.
Exactly. You have to comment. You're done. Okay. Well, that's up to you guys. You need to comment that you're done. and then we'll send it off for you. Okay. Both
So
of you
you
just
could work the way you do in ACX easily.
yeah, you can. Yeah, absolutely. Again, I would recommend that you don't, so that you aren't like beholden to us, but it doesn't really make you beholden to us. But feel free to use us as much as you want to or need to, you know? That's it.
Okay, somebody wants to know, do we buy the ISBN number from you?
That is something that the author works out. So that's not up to you guys at all. With the author, they can either buy their own ISBN. So the ISBN, as just like a quick thing for you guys, is those like numbers that are on a book, and it's what determines, it just says who the publisher is and all of that stuff. It's like a coding system, and it's what you need for any international books, any libraries here too, but Audible has its own A number, which is why some of you guys probably aren't familiar with it. And again, they bypass what the industry standard is. So you need an ISBN to go to libraries. You need an ISBN to go to international platforms. The author can either buy it themselves, and then they're listed as the publisher, or we can do it for you, and we're listed as the publisher. And it's not because we're like, oh yes, we want to be the publisher. We don't care. We're, again, all about you guys. It's just literally what is in the coding of those numbers. So the bulk ones that we've bought do that. We do ask for a $10 service fee just to cover that. They're really expensive. As we get bigger, we will not charge anything. It's just $10, and it makes things a lot easier. If you're buying them on your own, it's like $125 for one, or you can like buy 100 and then it's like, it gets lower as you go, but it's costly unless you've got a lot of books to go. So that's a question for the author, but if you guys know that, it's great if you can help explain it to them. We have it already all sorted out. Surprisingly, 80% of the people who are with us right now, they have their own ISBNs. They know how it works already. That's how the authors go. So that's what that is. You guys are not responsible for that. And when your portal is set up, your the ISBN is already on it, so that when you're ready to label your files, you know exactly what it is.
Okay, so I've got, I don't think you can answer this one really yet, but you might
Okay.
have an idea. What
Okay.
kind of authors will you have for the audition section when it opens? Do you foresee a large variety of auditions to choose from?
Yeah, sure. I absolutely hope so. I can't tell you right now, to be honest, but I absolutely hope so. It'll be a word of mouth sort of spread. We'll advertise it, but it's not the kind of thing, we don't make any money from it at all. It's just a completely free service to help you guys. So we'll do our very best and invite people on there and go for it. We individually check everything. We check every narrator and we check every author submission, so you're not going to get scams. And we're doing that completely free. Matchmaking. Thank you, Avon. That's what I want to call it. It's called matchmaking.
Now it's funny here. I've got to scroll through the 6,000 people in Josie's fan club. Everyone loves Josie. Somebody has said, so Sarah, when are you going to get a chance to do your own audiobooks?
Me? I do. Check me out, guys.
Because now you've got two businesses. So Tracy says, just so I'm clear as mud, unlike Audible, individual customers can't go to your website and buy audiobooks or do a subscription model. Like, no, Tracy, they can't. They can't go to Findaways and buy a book, or to Spoken Realms either. It's a distribution. So they're doing kind of what Findaway does. Is that the way to explain it?
Yeah. However, this is not ready yet, guys. We are making our own little version, kind of like Chirp, in the sense that it's called Audiobooks Unleashed Store. I'm not going to get into it too much yet because it is super under wraps. But what I will say is that the authors, because they are the rights holders, each have their own marketplace and can sell their books directly and make a lot more money than they would sell their audiobooks directly and make more money than they would if it was through Audible. So that will be an option for you guys. It will be at first, maybe we'll open up to everybody, but it will only be for our clients at first. So that's how it works. Oh, one thing I want to say, not really relevant to anything we've been talking about right now. We are a non-exclusive company, so you can go to other places if you want to. However, that only applies to PFH audiobooks. So if you're asking if you can go to other places, absolutely, but not if you're royalty share, because otherwise how would we keep track of that? How would we make sure that you're paid fairly? So just to clarify that, we're non-exclusive if it's a PFH audiobook. So for most of you guys who might be going through royalty share options, tell your authors you can't go anywhere else. That doesn't really, why would you? Doesn't make sense. But yeah, fair for you.
Okay, a couple of people want to know about public domain projects, if you have the capacity to handle them, how you would handle them, etc.
Yes, we do. We have a ton right now. Very happy to work with them. Absolutely. Anybody who's interested in starting with public domain projects, I would urge you, we may screen them if we're getting 1,000 of the same. Don't do Pride and Prejudice. Don't do Wuthering Heights. Don't do, I don't know, unless there's something really special about it. You're doing this big, crazy multicast thing. Go on Audible, do your research, look at what there is. Make sure that you're doing something that hasn't been done a million times. There are so many public domain options that are so cool. You can go on quick Wikipedia search and you can learn about like life rights and in what regions life rights start, and you can see like how long ago something had to be published or an author had to pass away for something to come up in public domain. Take a look, find something obscure. There are so many cool options, and public domain does really, really well outside of the US because these things aren't really necessarily available in the same quantity as they would be here. But make sure if you're doing a public domain, make sure it's done well, make sure there's something special about it, because we want you to make money and we don't want you to do a whole book and then have it not make money. And remember, market your books. Market your books. We can talk about that. You don't have to pay money to market your books, but throw it to us. We don't market it for you. We're distribution, but we'll have a marketing section. But that's different. But
and we don't even want to bring that one up. We're
not
running out of time.
Anything, guys.
Question, non-exclusive, does that affect the option of Audible Escape? Oh my God.
No, because that's an ebook.
Yeah.
That's an ebook.
And I have actually on my welcome pack, I won't take your project on if you do Audible Escape.
Oh, no. Sorry. Audible Escape is, Audible Escape is
it used to be the Audible, you won't make any money anymore if we're enrolling you in it. Sorry, this is going on YouTube. Don't quote me on that.
Audible Escape is the romance package now. It's the new name. Sorry, I thought we were talking about KDP for a second. Audible Escape
is the same as the romance package.
Yes,
but it's their new way of naming it so they could then put our thrillers and sci-fi and everything in it as well.
That's a good question. I'm not sure. Something tells me that it's probably only for exclusive. That's a really good question, and I'll find the answer out for you. But I'm not sure about that.
Okay, guys, I'm going to kind of scroll down. If we can hold off for the questions, no more questions at this point, and then post them on the wall just because we're running quite over. I'm going to ask the last few on here. And if you had any questions that didn't get answered, I'm going to put up the thank you, Sarah, you're wonderful, we love you email after this call on the group page, and then you can please leave your comments down below with questions because we have 88 new messages, and I think that might take quite a while. Put
them there so everyone can see them in case anybody has other questions. Thank you, Avon, for putting my email. Feel free to email me, absolutely, but also it might be better to put them on there if they're general questions that people would benefit from.
I'm wondering, how can I do that? How can I, there's no way to transfer these or cut and paste these into the group, is there?
Maybe manually? I don't know.
Yeah, because that's a lot of questions. I think we're pretty much out of time. I think if we even start on this, I'm gonna see if I can cut and paste, and I'm going to put this on a Word document, and I'm gonna stick the Word document in the Cup of Joe group, and then Sarah can maybe have a look at it later, Sarah, and see if.
And also, just a note, this is not like a sassy way, I will answer every single email always as soon as I get it. It is just me and sometimes Joe helping out, and now we have Josie, who we love, but I will answer you as soon as I can. Don't double email, because if you do, your email goes back up to the top and I go from the bottom up so that I get whoever emailed, answer them as quickly as possible, you're just going to not get an answer for longer. So don't double email. I will always, always answer you. Just please be patient with me.
Okay, yeah, this isn't, it's not letting me cut and paste. I've right-clicked. Okay, I don't want to waste all of your guys' time while I figure this out. So I'll say goodbye to everyone and I'll leave this screen up and I'll try to figure out how to copy and paste.
We'll figure it out. It's fine. It's all good. Or guys, just now that you've take it in, process, take a breath, eat something, and then if you still have questions, then post them again. Post them on that thing. Maybe
Yes, please.
Daniela,
to be honest, yeah, actually, you know what? Let's keep this simple. If your question wasn't answered, because a lot of these questions are repeats, if your question wasn't answered, please respond to my next message on the group. I'll mark it, I'll pin it to the top, and put a question in the comments below, and Sarah will look through them over the next week. Is that fair, Sarah? And respond. Yeah. And I mean, she's running 3 businesses, so I'm going to give her a little bit of grace of time here. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and thank you for taking the time, Sarah, to talk to us. This was way more informative and wonderful than I even thought it would be, and I really, really appreciate. I'm in awe, and I admire people like you and Craig and Sarah, and I just can't tell you how much it helps us all every single time one of you guys or one of us or somebody, you just hold on and have the faith to back your own ideas and make them work, because we could run everything. Instead of being on groups on Facebook whining and complaining about things, we could just take charge. And narrators are doing it. Look at all the narrators out there on Discord and on Facebook and Audiobooks Unleashed, and Amy with her company. It's like I've never worked any place with so many creative people that had just genius business minds, and you're somebody to look up to, and I really appreciate you coming.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet of you. I was just scrolling through your comments. It was fun looking at the chaos.
And right, Josie is like an internet sensation, isn't she?
I know, guys. She's great.
Okay, guys. Thanks so much, Sarah. And thank you, everyone, for taking the time to join. You're all fabulous. I'll see you on the other side.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.